Hi everybody, we're here from Eco Convos with Dan, and we're here with my new best friend Mel. So we've been having a chat here with Gympie Landcare, and Mel. So who have we got here, and what are we talking about?
So Dan, you asked me about these tents that are in the background when we were having our conversation, and really that's the biocontrol aspect of our business. And here's Yvonne, and she is our biocontrol manager, and I've asked her to take you through and show you what we do.
Wonderful, thank you very much, Mel.
Okay, so in this tunnel house we have 10 tents of jewel beetles. So they are our biological control, insect to control the invasive cat's claw creeper, which has come from South America over 100 years ago. So these are our breeding tents. So each of our tent we put 200 jewel beetles in. We let them breed up for 45 days. And after 45 days we harvest with them with a modified vacuum cleaner system. So our insects are only about 2 millimetres long. We put them into jars and release them all over the Gympie region, North Queensland and right down into New South Wales. So our little insects, not only do they feed on the leaves, when their eggs hatch, the larvae mine the inside of the leaves, and then they go into pupation, which is you'll see the holes in the leaves. So our insects are perfect for when...
Is that one of them just there?
That's one of them there. That's an adult beetle. So our insects won't eradicate the cat's claw because of the underground tubers, but they are a control method. So for landholders who don't want to use chemicals on their property, or where the cat's claw infestation is too great to be able to physically control, then our biological control insects are definitely perfect for someone's needs. So the cat's claw creeper has been introduced from South America as an ornamental plant. So it's got beautiful showy flowers. It flowers a few times a year. So it was initially put on outhouses and then grown on fence lines and over domestic buildings, where it eventually escaped out into a forest and become an invasive weed. So what this cat's claw does, it has small tendrils that looks like it resembles a cat's claw, and it will actually smother the ground, and then once it hits the base of a tree, it will actually climb that tree into the canopy, eventually smothering that tree and killing it. So cat's claw will kill everything in its path.
So we've got all these little tents here. This isn't experimentation. This is a breeding program, right?
It is, yes. So each tent we put 200 adults in, leave them breed up for 45 days. After that we'll harvest 5,000 beetles within that time period, and then we'll end the tent and then clean it out and then start it back up. As time goes by, we have been running more tents. Sometimes we'll run 2 or 3 tents during winter. Through warmer months when the insects are breeding quite a lot, then we could run anywhere up to 7 tents. So since the beginning of January this year, we've harvested and released just over 106,000 jewel beetles.
So Yvonne, how did you get into this yourself? Because this is a pretty exciting thing you're doing.
Yes, well, I actually fell into this job. So I was an insurance broker down the Sunshine Coast, and I decided I wanted to do something completely different. So I moved to Gympie, and then I was recommended that I come to Gympie Landcare to do something completely different. So I was adamant that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to work outdoors and something a bit physical, and so I volunteered at Gympie Landcare for about 11 months, and then this job came up and I was fortunate enough to actually get the job. So I started off 1 day a week and then worked my way up over the last 6 years to 4 days a week. And now we're running one of the biggest biological control facilities in southeast Queensland for cat's claw creeper and Madeira vine.
So this hothouse here, it certainly is quite warm, but how does it all work?
So basically in winter, we keep the doors down, especially overnight and during the day. Temperatures in here in summer actually hit 50 degrees. Our insects do love the heat, so they survive. We do have these extractor fans, which you may be able to hear in the background. So they come on automatically at 34 degrees. So our best harvesting time for our insects are when the fans come on, it's 34 and the sun's out. And so they're a lot easier to catch on cold days or when it's overcast. They actually hide down into the soil. So this is our sign, sun's out and the extractor fans are on, it's time to harvest.
Okay, so we're down here having a look at the compost worms.
Yes.
All right, very, very cool. So Yvonne, you want to show us through and have a look?
Okay, so we started our commercial composting worm farm last year. It's taking a little while to get up and running. So I'll just probably show you this one over here. So we have 5 species of worms. And so we've got tigers, blues, reds, a gardener's friend and European night crawlers. So we started to sell these guys about a month or so ago. So we're looking at all completely eco-friendly packaging. All of our packaging needs to be Australian owned and manufactured. That's been quite a difficult process for us, but we actually managed to get there. We will put in 1,000 worms minimum per box, and we also include a 500 gram free pack of worm castings. We are also starting to sell worm castings as well, and eventually liquid castings. So you can put them in the compost. We are trying to encourage locals to have their own worm farm to recycle food scraps rather than it go into landfill, which I think is something that's very important. Composting worms I think should be a part of everyone's household.
So speaking of households, are these fridges?
Yeah, they are. So these were actually donated from Gympie locals. The reason why we chose this is because we do really like to go down the path of recycling, and also being a not-for-profit organisation, it's not something where we have the funds to go out and have big commercial worm farm setups. So this is the option that we're running with, and it's actually working quite nicely.
So I can see here you've got a spigot put at the end as well to get any overflow worm juice or anything like that. That's all been obviously modified here by yourselves, and what a great system.
Yeah, so we got the instructions off the internet. So what we've done, we've dissected the fridge and freezers, we emptied out all the shelving, and then we put a tap in the bottom. So basically it's a safety valve so that if we have any heavy rains that the worm farm doesn't flood. We have second-hand carpet on top of the worm farm, so that's just to keep the worms warm in winter and cool in summer. So it's quite a basic setup, but the worms, as you can see, are pretty happy. Okay, so this is one of our large shade houses. So this is where we grow all our cat's claw and our Madeira vine to feed our insects. We also have another 3 freezers in here, which where we have our composting worms. We're getting quite a lot of help. We're fortunate to have Bill White, who's a 30-year-old veteran in composting worms, and he's been on board with us the last few months, giving us a hand to launch this new business of ours.
Very exciting.
Okay, so in this tunnel house on the right-hand side, this is where we have our Madeira Beetles. So Madeira vine is another introduced vine from South America, and it is as invasive, or will be worse than what cat's claw creeper is one day, because not only does Madeira vine have underground tubers, it also has above ground tubers. So for landholders, if you don't know what this vine is, if you cut this vine, it will drop its little aerial tubers, and each little aerial tuber will produce a new plant. So as you can see, there's the Madeira Beetle there. There's 2 of them mating. So they lay their eggs on the vine. You'll see the slime here. The larvae covers themselves in their own feces, and it's a protective coating from predators. They actually are heavy feeders. You can notice all their feeding on the leaves. They'll shed their little black slimes, and then they'll pupate down into the soil. So we're fortunate enough, Gympie Regional Council will actually provide any insects that are released on council land. The landholders will actually get a 75% discount. So in here we have the leaf tying caterpillar. So it was a project we started back in 2017 where we went out into the field. We collected 2 caterpillars, we brought them back, and 3.5 years on, we've produced 12 generations and over 4,000 moths. So our aim with these little guys are to actually get them established within the local Gympie region. So the caterpillars, after the eggs hatch, they'll actually, they're heavy feeders on the cat's claw vine, so they actually tie with like a silk webbing around the cat's claw leaves. That's how they stay hidden and protected. They feed on the inside of the leaves and eventually work their way down into the sand where they'll pupate and emerge as an adult. So in here we have the Tinged Bug, also another biocontrol agent for cat's claw creeper. As you can see, that's the adult there. So what these little insects do, they actually feed on the leaves. They suck the sap out of the leaves, turning them white, and eventually causing leaf drop.
So what are these, Yvonne?
Okay, so these are our modified poly boxes for our jewel beetles. So our jewel beetles generally go into a small jar when they go out into the field or to local landholders, but this particular box has been designed by us to hold over 10,000 jewel beetles. So what we do, we actually put the modified vacuum cleaner system onto the box lid, and then we'll seal it up, put some cat's claw for feed in there throughout their travels, and then we harvest directly into the box. So it generally takes about 3 or 4 of us, about 2 half days to catch that many. So every insect we count individually.